Hey LT, I'm glad you came today. I want to ask you a question. What do you want to do when you grow up? It may sound harsh to ask that right now because you think the book answer is you want to become a squadron commander, group commander, wing commander, or even bigger. Nope. I want you to think further on. What do you want to do after the Air Force? Now, you may not have ever thought of that. It took me a while to figure it out too, but thankfully, I had an old mentor who asked me this exact question when I was a second lieutenant, and I was able to decide what I wanted to do after the Air Force. And now, 18 years later, I wish I could thank him directly to his face and say it was a good thing you asked me that 18 years ago, because you know what, the end came a lot faster than I ever thought it would. And like a lot of folks in my year group, we spent most of our careers under threat of RIF, which is reduction in force, because that end can come quick. It might not be when you wish it to. I've had several of my friends that found themselves on the other end of a pink slip when they checked all the boxes just like they were supposed to for their next promotion. Instead, they were told by the Air Force, thank you for your time, you've got 30 days to figure out what the heck you want to do with the rest of your life. So a good thing to think of now is, what do you want to do when you grow up? And why is that a benefit? Well, that's partially a benefit because you won't let the Air Force define who you are. Let's be honest, it's not going to be your entire life. Even if you spend 20 years inside the Air Force, add that on to when you graduated, that gives you about 44 years old. Average male life expectancy in the United States, and female as well, is almost 80. So that's another 35 plus years after you get out of the Air Force that you could be alive. That's a whole nother lifetime. When you get down to it, this is a career, but it's just a job. Afterwards, you've got to have something else that defines you. And a good way of when you figure out in the very early part of your career what the heck you want to do, you can focus time in the Air Force towards that. The Air Force has this wonderful thing, tuition assistance. They expect Air Force officers to get a master's. You know what? You might as well get a master's in something that you enjoy and that you're going to use afterwards, rather than just checking the box to have a master's for that next promotion and it not be useful for you afterwards. It also means that you can focus your investments of time, extra things to study, investments of money set aside so that if land, say, becomes available where you want to spend the rest of your life, you now have that available to purchase when that's available. And then the other part is, when the end comes, well, you'll be ready for it. You won't be stuck trying to figure out what the heck am I going to do. Or if you've let the Air Force define your life, you find yourself in that situation where it's just nothing but endless depression. Because trust me, you don't want to be that person that gets to the end, thinks their life is over, and then a few years later is dead because their life is done. You know what? I'm glad my mentor asked me when I was a second lieutenant, what do you want to do when you grow up? I decided back then, and I've never feared the end ever since. So that's all I've got today. I'm glad you came. I'll see you in the Force.